Well, welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohen of Compass Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during the show. That certificate's not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And today's trivia theme is general trivia. Patty, we're going to start off with you. What's going on? You haven't been on for a couple of weeks here?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we know it's a seller's market. There has never been a harder time to find a house in history, and it just keeps going. So, for example, 70% of the listings on the market are in contract. So, under 25%, it's a buyer's market. 25 to 35, it's a neutral market. Over 35%, it's a seller's market. So we know it's a seller's market. And even in the past 8 years, it was like 50%, yeah. 70%.
Now, what's driving that? I mean, originally last year, COVID was making people kind of move out of small areas and into bigger houses. Is that still going on that way? Or?
It's just people aren't moving. Some of it was, it's just a lot of reasons, but a Prop 19 seems to have no effect whatsoever to stimulate movement, and it might. I mean, but we're still in the pandemic, so people are still not wanting to move during the pandemic, but they're also just not wanting to move. They're putting money into their house, so if you're a remodeler or selling, dishwashers or kitchen sinks, you're going to make some money.
So I guess maybe uncertain times will kind of make people sort of plant their feet, won't they?
Yes, but at the same time, there's a lot of buyers out there. So there's just more buyers than sellers.
Simple economics.
I wonder what's going to make people or compel people to move. Because is this like a more permanent thing where people are just going to be less inclined to move and just put more, they have equity in their home. Maybe they're just going to pull a little equity out. Well, part of it's refinancing, maybe pulling money out because money's so cheap right now, refinancing and just improving their home versus going and finding something because they're scared about not being able to find something.
Yeah, that's exactly a lot of what it is. And at the same time, and there was the study, I think something like 64% of people don't want to go back to their office. They like working from home. So there's that. It's just, buyers are here. Like they talk about the exodus from California. Net, the Bay Area is a no growth place, especially Marin County. So if people are not moving and buyers are coming here or leaving this city, it's bonkers. It's bananas what's happening out there. Like, for example, year over year, last year was a really, really strong market, but first quarter year over year in Marin County, the median price is up 19%.
Wow.
And that was, taking a ride already out. The volume, the dollar volume that we did, so like not the number of sales, but the dollar volume is up 52%.
Wow.
So there's more sales. But get this, the real niche that is happening is in the luxury market. It's up 141% from the first quarter of last year.
What do you consider a luxury market? What price?
I think I have to go back and look at that, but I think it's 3 million.
Okay, 3 million. Wow. So maybe in the next segment, I'll go into a little bit. Well, actually, now, if you don't mind, I can echo some of that comparing Q1 to Q1 for us. Our unit volume was up 60% over Q1 of last year, but our dollar volume, and this kind of goes to what you're saying, was up 90%.
Right.
Because the bridge loans that we're doing are high-end, high-end properties. We've had a number of bridge loans anywhere from $3 to $5 million coming in, and that's been a hot market.
So if the average was $1 million loan, you're saying that the average now is $1.9 million.
Yeah, right. At least for Q1 it was for us. Yeah. And we had just a few, and half of our business was bridge loans.
Mhm.
So it's just people trying to, get into that next home. And we're seeing so much activity in that space, but it is the higher end, luxury market where
Yeah.
we're seeing a ton of activity.
And what I've noticed, I don't know the exact percentage, but at least 2/3 of the people that win the deal, so what actually closes, are zero contingencies. So they might be getting a conventional loan, but they have removed that as a contingency. So
Mhm.
that's why you're seeing the bridge loans, because
Yeah.
that's what it takes, and then
Oh yeah. I
in
mean,
terms of people go, well, aren't they getting inspections? They're not, because we come fully prepared with inspections done already before it goes on the market.
gotcha. Gotcha.
That's
Yeah.
that's
I
yeah.
mean, I was refinancing my first mortgage. It took me 3 months just to
Wow.
refinance. 3 months.
Wow.
It just closed. Yeah. All right. We're going to cut to our first commercial break. Again, we're talking just general trivia here. What was the name of Rocky Balboa's dog
Oh, God.
in the Rocky movies? All right. That's our trivia question. Be the first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that tanning certificate. Our number is 888-912-1190. Again, here's the trivia question. Number one, what was the name of Rocky Balboa's dog in the Rocky movies? All right, stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back. Here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Fan of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohen of Compass Realty. First trivia question. What was the name of Rocky Balboa's dog?
You'll tell me and I'll go, oh my gosh, I forgot.
Yo, Butkus.
Butkus.
Oh.
Butkus. Remember that? Butkus. Hey,
It's a cute dog.
want to make a quick mention here for the Mccaffrey Bed and Breakfast. So if you're looking for a romantic getaway near Yosemite, Mccaffrey House Bed and Breakfast is just the place. Enchanting Mountain Lodge, nestled in the quiet forest hollow of the High Sierra in Twainhart. Included in your stay is a full hot breakfast as well as the happy hour each evening where wine is served. To make a reservation, go to mccaffreyhouse.com. All right. Nom, why don't you continue on? You wanted to ask Patty a question?
Yeah, so I get your Compass reports every month, and I was looking through some of the stats, many of which you had mentioned already. But you talk about low inventory. In March of this year, the inventory was like a little over 200 properties that were listed, right?
Yeah.
Active listings on market looks like there's probably around 230 or so. But compare that to June of 2019, where it's about 600. That was probably closer to a buyer's market. I mean, for Marin County, that still seems pretty low, but 200 right now, and if 70% of those have offers on them or are in contract,
Yeah.
that's 60 homes
I know.
that aren't. And then it's not probably too much longer before those.
Well, I don't think they're counting the pendings in that, but still, that's not a lot of homes.
No.
It's a huge county. That's all price ranges. That's everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, if 200 homes across the, how many cities are there in Marin?
13. Yeah.
13. That's a really low number.
Very.
That's basically, no movement.
No.
Relatively no. So as a realtor, I mean, how are you doing in this? With so low inventory, how are you trying to?
Oh, it's the best. I love this market. I thrive in this market because I deal with mostly sellers.
Yeah.
But I did 4 buyers this year already. And the average agent in Marin sells almost 3 houses in the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So I shouldn't say I don't really deal with buyers because I've done 4. I mean, here's a buyer example. Somebody, he was a referral back in December, and I just thought, I don't know if I can put this together. So I didn't really follow up as much as I used to. Called him out of the blue last Wednesday, and he said, we've changed. We can now go up to $2 million too. 2-bedroom is fine. We don't need a garage. And
Wow.
and we don't have to be, this was the key that I was like, okay, you're realistic. And we don't have to be in the flats. We could be way up in the hills. I was like, and our price range is now 2.2. It used to be like 1.5. I went, okay. So the very next day, something came out. And then a lot of it is like, if you're working with a realtor, you got to work with a realtor that is really in the networking groups which are the top agents, or else you're just lost. So someone in the networking groups described that exact thing, and it was listed for 1599 in Mill Valley. We brought in an offer. It just quick got in there. No other offers, but actually looked like there was going to be another one. Anyway, still 0 contingencies. Way over asking is what we're doing. I'm not allowed to say anything else about that. But they're getting a loan, but it's just not contingent.
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff that's happening. But other than that, if you like agents are really burned out if you're working with a lot of buyers.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's hard.
Well, let me ask you, an email comes in for you. It says, I'm concerned that interest rates are starting to climb. What advice are you giving people regarding either buying or selling real estate?
Well, it's a good question because there's lots of, like, one of the most searched questions a couple of weeks ago was, is this the bubble? Are prices peaking along that line? And I don't think it is, because first of all, economists will tell you, like, we're headed toward inflation, right? Interest rates are still really low. Like, a couple of weeks ago was the first time since February that they declined again. So they're not that concerned about inflation. And then at the same time, so we've got low interest rates, we've got inflation, which means prices on real estate go up too. Yeah. And we're still not at like 10% affordability, which is really when things get scary. Like, it might be great conditions, but if you can't afford it. But so we're still not there. And at this moment, we're not close to a bubble because there's still so much pent up demand. Now, will we ride this? Some people are saying, oh, it's going to be over in the summer. I think we're going to for sure ride it at least through the first quarter of next year. Yeah. But I mean, who knows after that? Because the other side of it is there's been, since 2012, that's almost 10 years, the longest ever of rising prices. Yeah. Since we came out of that Great Recession. But, and here's something else. People are talking about the roaring 20s in general in our culture. So think about what happened literally 100 years ago in the 20s was right after the pandemic or whatever the Spanish flu.
Spanish flu, yeah.
The roaring 20s. People just let loose, like who let the dogs out? Everything was just, up. So also, if you want to know how we're doing, look at China's economy. Because they were the first this is from the Wall Street Journal. China's economy, which entered and exited COVID-19 lockdowns first in 2020, surged 18.3% in the first quarter from a year earlier. A record growth rate that reflected the recovery from a deep coronavirus-included trough in 2020. Anyone doubt what's coming our way economically? Brace yourself for the roar of the roaring 20s in the second quarter in the U.S. And we're here. And then also, I mean, the roaring 20s is like I'm talking about economically, but I think that we're not there yet. But I think like in the next year, like people are going to be happier and they're going to go out and they're going to, it's the roaring 20s. It's cycles like anything else, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we won't have a 29 crash because but that was mostly because you were able to buy stocks instead of 50% with margin, you could have bought 90%. You only had to put 10% down. So when those margin calls came in, it was sort of like what happened to what was that GameStop, where the short sellers just kind of get smoked, and the more buying, and it just kept going up, up, and up.
That's a really good point. I didn't realize that. Yeah, and anyway, that's 8 years from now. Anyway, if you look at this, so
we'll make sure that we sell just in time.
Exactly.
All right. If you guys, when we come back from a break, we have an email that comes in from Nam talking about foreclosures. We'll ask about that. All right. So here's our second trivia question. Just coincidentally, also happens to be a Rocky question. I figured, how many were there? 6 Rocky movies? You got to figure you got to get, some Rocky movies in there. Questions. All right, here's a question. What were the names of the 2 turtles that Rocky owned? And I think mostly it was in the first one that you heard the names. I don't know if you ever heard them after that, but in the first one you heard them. But what were the names of the 2 turtles in the little not aquarium, whatever they have. It's a
Little fishbowl.
little fishbowl thing that Rocky owned. All right, email Edward, or no, you can actually call us, 888-912-1190. First caller with correct answers and win that tanning certificate. Stay with us. Best of Investing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nom Fon of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohn of Compass Realty. Second trivia question. What were the names of the two turtles in the movie Rocky?
Don't know.
Cuff and Link.
Oh, funny.
You don't remember that, huh? Okay.
Not.
Nom, you wanted to mention about how things are kind of changing a little bit out there, getting together.
Yeah. So in that last segment, Patty, you were talking about kind of the roaring 20s again, and that over the next, year or several quarters, you're going to see people just happy to get out again. And I can say that, I can echo that. That's happening now. Mark and I were at an event last week down in Newport Beach, and it's an event that's held every year. It's a Jurassic Innovate, one of the major law firms in our space, holds an event. And this time last year we went, and it was the last one before everything shut down. That was the last event I went to, and this is not the first event I went to. Actually, I went to one in Aspen a few weeks prior.
Oh yeah.
But I can tell you, so many of our peers in the industry were there. It was sold out. It was a small crowd to begin with. It was about 200 people, but it was sold out, and everyone was there hugging, shaking hands at a minimum. People were wearing masks, though not as many as I was hoping for. On them. We were actually the mask sponsor, so we have a mask.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, nice.
And everyone picked one up, but then people, let their guard down. But a lot of people said they had gotten vaccinated too.
Have you gotten vaccinated, you guys?
Yeah.
I haven't.
No, I'm still kind of waiting, especially after hearing about Johnson and Johnson, and I'm kind of waiting to see if Nom grows a third eye, and then I'll decide.
My eyes. Can you see my eye color?
I can see your eyes. Yeah.
They turned brown. They were blue.
Listen, I'm not anti-vaccine, but I think I actually had COVID back January of 2020, and then the thing is, they're saying that even if you get vaccinated, you're still going to have to get shots periodically, almost like the flu shot type thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the only time I took a flu shot years ago, I got really sick with the flu.
Same.
Never took the flu shot again. Hardly ever got the flu.
Same.
Interesting.
Just kind of one of those, maybe I got a strong constitution. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, so people are happy to be getting out and can't wait to do events. And there was another event this week in Miami. Now, Florida, I don't think they ever really shut down, but they were over subscribed too. And at that event, I think there were 400 people.
Wow.
But usually, there might be 200 or 300. So people are clamoring to get back out. And it was really nice to see people in person versus over Zoom, which kind of got burned out on. And maybe we'll do a radio show again soon in person, back at your office, Edward. So anyway, it's been a long slog working remotely, but I agree with what you're saying, Patty. I think a lot of people will continue to try and work from home.
If they can, if the employers will let them. No, my question comes in. It says, how often do you have to file a foreclosure? You have to give a little background.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So, we're Pacific Private Money, and we are lenders to borrowers on primarily residential real estate, although we do other types of real estate as well, whether it's some commercial or construction or fix and flip. But we make loans to various borrowers who have different needs. And, these borrowers are coming to us either for speed. Sometimes they can't get bank financing for various reasons. But at the end of the day, we have the same challenges that banks do, which is, some borrowers fall behind and can't make the payments on time, or they keep missing payments, or you have borrowers that are chronically, delinquent. And when it gets to the point where we just don't feel that a borrower is going to catch up, then you have to file a notice of default. And you have different time frames depending on whether that borrower is living in the property or it's an investment property. But nevertheless, if we have to file a notice of default, that can lead to a foreclosure where we're taking possession of the property, or that could be, a little bit of a kick in the pants to the borrowers to really bring their loan current. So, but out of that percentage of notices that we file, inevitably there are some that we actually have to foreclose on. And, in the 13 plus year history of Pacific Private Money, we funded, well over 800, maybe 850 loans at this point. We've had to file notice maybe 3 dozen times or so. We've actually foreclosed probably about half, over on half of that, 15 or so, 18 or so properties where we've actually had to foreclose, take the property back. And, what we do at that point is, if it's one that's in our fund, we will do the rehab work and then list it, sell it. If it's one held by our trustee investors, some of them have taken the property back and just used it as rental properties. But in all of those cases, we've actually never lost any principal. So, yeah, so it's an unfortunate, side of part of our doing business. We never want to take a property back from a borrower, but if we have to, we have to. So
Good. How do people get a hold of you?
they can give us a call at 415-883-2150, or they can go to our website, which is www.pacificprivatemoney.com. And if you're an investor looking to invest, now that things are opening up, people are wanting to meet us at our office again, or hopefully towards the end of this year we'll do our road shows again. Edward, I actually kind of missed that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, those are great.
But so yeah, to learn more about Pacific Private Money, give us a call, 415-883-2150, or go to www.pacificprivatemoney.com.
All right. And Patty, you know what? We forgot to ask for your information.
Oh, yeah.
Your email question. Give out your information, would you?
Yeah. Well, I'm a real estate broker in Marin County for 32 years. My name is Patty Cohn, and I can be reached at Patty, P-A-T-T-I, .Cohn, C-O-H-N, at compass.com. Feel free to email, text, call at 415-722-4842. And I cover all of the Bay Area, mostly Marin County. And if you're interested in these rich data reports specific to each of the 9 Bay Area counties, I'm happy to provide it for you at no charge. So
very good. Thank you, my dear. We're going to cut to our third trivia question here. In the movie Logan's Run, society maintains its resources by killing everyone who reaches what age? Call 888-912-1190. First caller with correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Again, here's the question. In the movie Logan's Run, society maintains its resources by killing everyone who reaches what age? Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown, Nam Phan, and Patty Cohen right here. In the movie Logan's Run, society maintains its resources by killing everyone who reaches what age?
Edward, how old are you right now?
Yeah, about 120. No.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Was it like 35 or something like that?
Close. 30.
30.
30.
Jeez.
Yeah.
yikes.
Well, I'm going 30. That's just children. Children are 30.
You know what's interesting is, not to get too far afield here, but whenever the shows come up, they always reflect society at the time. And so you're wondering at that time, were they feeling like, we're
too many people on Social Security? We got to,
yeah, because that was out the same time that Soylent Green was out, where they were turning people into food. Do you remember that? That was Charlton Heston. And
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, they went around and scooped up people off the streets and then turned them into Soylent Green, which is like a power bar.
Yeah.
People.
No, I think you're into those strange movies there.
No, I just like movies from the 70s. That's all. 80s.
Nam, you want to ask Patty a couple more questions about?
Yeah, going back to this market, because it's just insane. We're busier than ever. We're able to help borrowers in certain situations with our bridge loan, but I have to, with such limited inventory, And if you're competing against 20 offers, you know, and some of these listings I imagine aren't even listed on the MLS. So
There's a lot more off market, yes.
yeah, a lot more off market. There's apps for that now. So I mean, if I'm a borrower and I'm trying to find the best edge I can, I want to get into, I want to be able to see more than what's on the MLS. But not every agent is really connected like
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
or most, you know, the top agents usually know what's going on in the market.
Yes.
So it seems like in a market like this, if I'm a buyer, I would gravitate towards the more experienced agents,
Yeah.
just who've been in the business a long time, and who, I mean, I hate to say that for new agents, that it's harder to succeed in this market right now.
Right.
But I have to say, if you're a buyer, you're gonna sort of have to align yourself with people who have the greatest connections.
Right.
Is that the
And I
case?
like your word align too,
Mhm.
because agents will be as loyal as the buyer is loyal.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of buyers are just like, they're just working with anybody that will have them. And, you know, it takes a lot to
Yeah.
really, and there's no shortage of buyers. So, you know, I'm going to work with somebody that is totally loyal to me. I mean, if 5 people want the same thing, I'm going to go with whoever's most loyal, whoever's most motivated, whoever's most whatever. So there's that. But like, back to the question of like, what do you do with a buyer to differentiate yourself? So yeah, number one, pick the right agent and be
Yeah.
loyal to that agent. But also,
Yeah.
you know, everybody writes that beautiful love letter, how much they like the house. And, you know, there's like, all the tricks aren't there, but like, what I do as much as possibly can is I will write a preemptive offer, even if they're looking at offers on, you know, Tuesday. I'm writing one on Saturday. They can at least say no. I mean, but the problem with that is, you know, and make it so high that the seller is willing to take their property essentially off the market from all those other buyers, and just see if it works. Problem is, if it doesn't work, then you've already shown your hand, and all those other buyers kind of, they don't know, but you've shown your hand.
Yeah.
But you know, the best thing you can do is come in with the highest price. And the best thing you can do, like it used to be that rare buyer that had 0 contingencies.
Yeah.
Now I think like 2/3 of properties end up selling that way.
Wow.
And you know, they might still get a loan, but it's 0 contingencies.
I mean, if you put in that preemptive offer and it's really high, I mean, you got to kind of make sure that your buyer is willing to pay that, right?
Oh yeah, well the buyer, of course, you know, wants to do it, but you know, at the same time, like sometimes not everything goes with multiple offers. So the seller kind of risks like, well, maybe I'm going to sit here on Tuesday with nobody, and that buyer with the preemptive offer is going to lower their price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point.
But those days are kind of over. Like I used to do a lot of preemptive offers, but on my listings, and now we're just waiting, just get it all lined up and go. So price is everything. There's still like wonderful people that grew up in the area or grew up in the house, and they want to sell it only to somebody that's not going to rent it, that's not going to tear it down, that's going to keep the character, that's a sweet couple that's going to raise their family there. But I mean, you know, as my brother says, blood is thicker than water, but cash tops them all, you know.
Yeah, true.
Like,
Jeez,
so it's a nice sentiment, but it only goes so far.
Yeah. We had the Wells Fargo chief global economist on like a month ago.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the next 2 quarters just being, you know, just being vibrant.
Wow.
So I think through this year, we're just going to see that. And then, you know, what you're saying, what happens next year? I mean, housing, there's still such an undersupply of housing. So I can't imagine that, you know, that's not going to go away. I wonder if the commercial space, if some of, you know, if there's permanence in the work from home, that some commercial space gets converted to housing, or you know, just multi-purpose, multi-use communities.
So
I mean, it's
and then
already
you
kind of
wonder what's
started.
going to happen with the parking in communities, and everything's changing. But retail and commercial, like that train left the station. People's habits have changed, and they're not going back.
Yeah, didn't the Fireman's Fund building in Novato isn't that getting converted into housing?
Yeah, yeah, it got
That's a big
sold.
property.
Boy, that's been, yeah, seems like maybe over 6 months now, but
Yeah,
supposedly that it's going to be a combination of
combination.
housing. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
that'll
well,
be
I mean, it's in supply demand. I mean, supply's not there and demand's there, and the costs of lumber and everything is just really, really high.
yeah,
So you're not going to have a lot of new building construction unless they keep the costs reasonable. I mean, it's all, especially with extra fees that they're going to charge at the city and those permit fees. I mean, it all kinds comes down to you got to allow a developer to make some kind of profit. Otherwise,
yeah.
you build.
Real quick, I was at an event, like I was saying, last week, and one of the lenders there was a builder. They lend to builders, and so a lot of these builders are turning to alternative materials
Oh,
to build. So they're saying something like the cost of steel is almost on par with wood, or at the price point now where steel is a viable option
interesting.
for framing. So that's just, and I'm sure they're going to come up with other materials, composite or whatever,
Yeah.
to hopefully make building more affordable.
I mean, and then with all the fire situation,
Yeah.
steel would be a lot more desirable.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? I'm not sure about
Yeah,
how insulation would work, but go ahead.
right. And that's materials, labor, again, the fire situation, how busy everybody is.
yeah,
You just, they give you these numbers. If it's make it so high, and if it sticks, then they'll
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
exactly. All
Thank
right,
you.
we don't have a trivia question, but when we come back, we are going to have some closing thoughts. We got just a few minutes left. Let's see, we've got about 15 seconds. What are we going to talk about in the next segment to kind of tease the audience?
15 seconds.
15 seconds before we have to cut to the break.
Oh, closing arguments.
Yeah.
Just maybe if people want to invest, how they can invest, and I'll
Okay,
cover
okay.
that in a minute.
We'll talk about that. Okay, stay
Yep.
with us. The Best of Investing. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Fana, Pacific Private Money, and Patty Cohen of Compass Realty. Nam, how do people get a hold of you about for investing in your funds?
Yeah, so Pacific Private Money, we offer several different funds for investors who want to be able to participate in earning on the loans that we make to borrowers. Where, if we're lending to borrowers at somewhere in the 8% range, then our investors can earn, anywhere in the low sevens to on up, depending on the fund, which fund they're interested in. But if they want to learn more, they can give us a call at 415-883-2150. Or go to our website, which is www.pacificprivatemoney.com. And I'm hopeful we'll get on the road and do road shows later this year. So hang tight for those.
Looking forward to it.
Yep.
And Patty, how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, I am a real estate broker in Marin County, Patty Cohen, with Compass for 32 years. And I am at 415-722-4842. Also email Patty, P-A-T-T-I, .cohn, C-O-H-N, at compass.com.
Did you start in real estate when you were like 12 years old?
Exactly. Yes, yes, that would be it.
And also, you know what? The Pacific Southwest Note Fund is going through a change. It's going to be the yield is going to go down starting June 1st to a straight 7.5%. It was just getting a little bit too convoluted trying to figure out the profits, and even though investors were earning between 9 to 12, it was just costing a little too much to run the fund. So unfortunately, that's going to have to get lowered. But the 7.5% fixed is not a bad return. So
Yeah, that's still a really healthy return.
Yeah, especially since there's been no defaults in that on those loans, and they've been paying like clockwork, and the loan to value stays under 50%. So.
And I'll tell you, at these events we go to, obviously we talk to lenders who have funds in other markets outside of California and in state, and a lot of them are paying in the sixes. So a lot of them are starting out. One fund is just starting out, and they're paying their pref is 6. So they see the yield pressure in the marketplace because alt lending is such an attractive space to invest in now. It's has Wall Street money coming into it.
Yeah, you can't have a situation where the manager can't make enough money to keep the lights on.
No, and 6%.
Yeah.
6% is a really healthy return. So
In today's market, absolutely.
so
Yeah. And also one of the kind of the neat things about the Southwest Fund is similar to your to the Freedom Fund is that even though there's a 12-month lockup, there is no penalty for early withdrawal. So it's effectively no lockup period. So
that's great.
You can get your money out at any time. Just give 30 days notice, which is
Wow,
not a
nice.
bad. And no commissions, no fees to get in, no fee to get out. So it's a no load fund, as are all of the other Pacific private money funds. In fact, your Freedom Fund is paying a straight 7%, but that's
Yeah.
going to get lowered also.
To 6,
To
yeah.
6, yeah.
And it's part of it's competitive forces in the marketplace, but part of it is, it's the high liquidity for us, because we're selling loans out of the fund every month, means that investors can get their funds back, and for that, we feel that 6 is a very fair rate to pay, and that's starting May 1st. For existing investors, they continue to earn 7, but new accounts, it would be 6.
All right.
And all of the funds that you mentioned, same number to call, 415-883-2150, or go to our website, www.pacificprivatemoney.com.
Very good. All right. Thank you both. We're going to cut to our thoughts for the day. What's the fastest liquid on earth? Milk. It's pasteurized before you can even see it. Isn't that good? And this is actually thoughts about milk for the day. And I don't buy fat-free milk because I don't want to contribute to cows having body issues.
All right.
All right.
Body shaming.
You like that? Okay, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We'll be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.
All right.